Good afternoon. This is Juanita Mitchell-Blackwell, and I come to you post-election here in the United States. I might have gone a little crazy with the makeup because I've been up since 4, and as many of you know, I was and still am an ardent Harris supporter. Not only is Vice President Harris an incredible professional, she is my sister-in-law. She is also my HBCU sister. She is also my sorority sister, but she is a human being, and she offered herself to serve this country with less than 120 days notice to be president, commander-in-chief of our nation. It broke my heart this morning to wake up to the truth that she did not prevail. That after giving it everything she had, that it was not enough to overcome the absolute terror, the fear of having a woman as president of this country. I could add all kinds of other descriptors, but that is really the bottom line. And I wanted to come to you with how we're going to move forward as family members, as friends, as colleagues, co-workers, clients, because all of us have someone in our circle who not just is a Republican, because I have had Republican friends my entire life, but is a Make America Great Again Trump Republican, which most of us know that's a different breed, right? And I have talked, I have listened, I have sought to understand where they were coming from. And I have had deep and evolving conversations, and what it always comes back to, in my opinion, what I hear in my ears, what I felt in my heart after the conversations always came back to fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what it's going to be like. And it really hit me that people would rather be in a place that is uncomfortable, that is horrible, that makes their skin crawl, than to make a change. Because they're familiar with the horrible, they're familiar with the uncomfortable, they are familiar with that sensation of crawling skin. And for them to be faced with an opportunity to do something different, they still would rather stick with what they know. And so after I had dried my tears and after I had gone a little crazy with the makeup and I went to see my clients for the morning, I sat down to share my thoughts with you that God put on my heart after my prayers and meditations. And this is how to live a life of peace, joy, and fulfillment through crushing disappointment. So the first thing is, don't deny. Go ahead and cry. Let those tears flow. Scream, yell, rage, curse. Do whatever it is you need to do to get that stuff out of you. You do that. You are entitled to that. You earned that. You worked your butt off. You believed, you gave, you volunteered your time, your talent, your treasure. You put it on the line. It is okay for you to be disappointed. It's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to be disappointed. You let that out, but you do it in your safe space, and you do not do it targeting the people who love you and who you love. So no to your spouse, no to your kids, no to your subordinates, no to the people who look up to you. Where can you do this? In your home. You can go outside if you're like me and live in a pretty wooded area. You can do it in your journal. You can do it in your breath. So every moment, you do what you need to do. Get that out there, okay? Once you have done that, and you might need to do this more than one time, I suspect Vice President Harris is going to need to do it more than one time. Hence her pushing her speech back to 4 o'clock this afternoon as opposed to doing it this morning. And I thoroughly and absolutely respect and admire her doing that, taking the time to exemplify self-care. Another reason that I absolutely love her. Number 2, express gratitude. Thank the people who stood up for you, who stood with you when your hopes and your dreams, your path to success seemed incredible, like totally and absolutely inconceivable that you make it. And I gotta tell you, Vice President Harris, her path was absolutely incredible. To say to somebody, you know what, okay, I give, you're gonna have to take it with less than 4 months. That was just not kind. It was unprofessional. And I know there are some people who would say, Lanita, that's not kind. That's not professional for you to say. Maybe not, but it is the truth. So it's important that we acknowledge where we are, how we got here, and to thank the people who stood with us through it all. We're going to pick up the phone and we're going to stick to the script. It's important that we write things down, just like I did today, so I wouldn't be all over the place as I was talking to you, right? And it starts with, I appreciate. Thank you so much for. You're a warrior. And I am so glad to have you on my team, in my corner, in my circle, in my heart. And I thank you for allowing me into yours. There are probably going to be some tears in there, and that's okay. There are tears in my throat right now that I'm holding back so I can finish this. But it's important that you share your message publicly, emphasizing the people who helped you and championed you along the way. Because they are going to remember not just this moment of absolute devastation and heartbreak, but how you rallied and how even in this dark moment, you were able to see something great. There's always, always, always something to be grateful for. That is the core of our joy. That is how we live life on fire with peace, joy, and fulfillment, even through the crushing pain. The third thing that we have to do is we have to remember our why we even get out here every day, why we work hard, why we want more than just to make a living, but to make a life. And your life has purpose. It has meaning beyond just this moment. And I know that some people are thinking to themselves, Lanita, you always say the only moment that matters is right now. That's true. And then there's the moment after that's determined by what we do in this moment. And so if you think of your life as a continuing echo of vibration, of energy, over which we have control as to whether it's positive or negative energy, you will understand how important each and every last person is. This election, I hate to say, it was not close. 9 million is not close. And it was crushing. It hurt. It hurts. And that should let you know that every vote counted. It meant something. We have to take the time to realize that even in pain, that everything is happening for us and not to us. What do I mean? When we phrase it that way, we are now taking authority and responsibility for our life, and now we are empowered. We are no longer victimized, and we can now come from a place of strength and dignity and ask the following questions. What did I learn? If this is happening for me, then there is something here for me to learn. How did I grow? Because I am not the same person I was the night before, when I was sitting on high, when everything seemed to be going my way, when the polls came out and the people were cheering, and people who would never deign to vote for a Democrat, to vote for a woman, to vote for a woman of color did it. And what would you change about your actions and why? This is that moment that most of us tell ourselves, I'm not going to do. That Monday night quarterbacking from the Sunday game, when you are second guessing yourself. But it is important that you do it one time and one time only. And you don't let anybody else drag you down back that path ever again. Once you do it the one time, you shake out all the lessons and the blessings, and you throw away the mess and the dressing. One time, and then that's it. The fourth thing you got to do once we've done that, because now we have gotten all of that off of us, it's time to reset the clock. It's time to come back to ourselves, to our souls. How do we do that? The first thing is we got to retreat. We got to pull back. We have to take time for ourselves now to recalibrate, to get centered. Okay? We're going to meditate. So that's taking time and be quiet. We're not talking. We are thinking. We are petitioning to Holy Spirit, and we are listening for instruction. We are breathing through that process. We're breathing through the pain. We're breathing through the anger. We're breathing through the disappointment. We're breathing through the frustration. We're breathing through the feelings of betrayal. Yes, I know. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. We're breathing through it. And we are praying and we're asking God for what next. We're not ready to move yet, but we do want something to fix our eyes on the horizon. What would you have me do? And sometimes it's going to be an answer that we don't like. We are going to hear an answer that sounds like this. Remember when I told you to? And we're like, oh yeah. Yeah, you did. Before I hopped out here. Yeah. Remember when you said you would? Like, I did. Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? Or remember when there was this thing and you fill in the blank. We've all been there. I've been there. And then after we do that, we're going to get up and we're going to stretch. We're going to stretch physically, stretch our bodies, because we've been sitting for a while going through this process of meditation, breathing, and prayer, right? But we're also going to stretch beyond this moment, right here, right now. We're going to believe in ourselves again. We're going to have hope and know that our place in this world, it still matters. And that as long as there's breath to take, that there's breath in these lungs, that we're going to get up and we're going to face the day knowing that there is some treasure for us here. And at first it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because it does hurt. But every day we're going to do it. And we're surrounded by now people who love us, but we've held them back so that we don't take our frustrations out on them, that we don't come off half-cocked with ideas that have not fully formed. We want to be able to articulate our position in a way that is kind, loving, professional, and ready. We're going to reflect to ensure that this is in line with our life purpose and what God has for us. And we're going to recalibrate. So here's the thing. There are some people who are not going to be on the next part of the journey. There are some activities that you've been involved in that now have to go to the side. There are some places that you used to frequent, that used to love to go, they go now. There are some jobs that you had that you will no longer do. That is part of the recalibration. It will take time. It will be uncomfortable, but you can and you will do it. In this stretch, Donald J. Trump is now the president of the United States of America again. That means that we have a duty to ourselves, to our families, to our communities, to our places of employment, to conduct ourselves as good citizens. Now, that does not mean that we won't be raising sand when things go awry. Rather, what it means is that my mother used to say something, and I was about to say it, but I'll clean it up. Give a person a chance to shoot themselves in the foot. So we're going to give them a chance. We'll see how this goes. But we're holding the line. And we're planning for the next 4 years. Which comes to the plan. Your next big adventure. It probably will not be this thing. I don't know if Vice President Harris will run for president again. I really hope she does. I hope she gives herself that opportunity, because this 120 days, that was not a real shot. That was not a real shot. And if we're going to be honest, one of the things that seriously undermined her, 83% of the electorate said so, was the way that she got to the top of the ticket. She didn't have the opportunity to caucus, to go through the primary, to show everybody what an incredible candidate she was. I would love that for her, but that's something she has to come to herself. The next thing is we have to see who's going to join us in our next big adventure, because it's probably not going to be the same people. And it's not because they necessarily did something. They might have, but not necessarily. But other people have to go on with their lives too. I did a video not too long ago, actually, this summer. And I said, we have to be very careful to be civil in our discourse in this political season. Because when this is all said and done, all the people who worked on these campaigns, not the volunteers, but the paid professionals, and the candidates themselves, they are professional politicos. And so when this is over, the people who worked on the campaigns, they go back to the rest of their lives, okay? They move on and they go back to the rest of their lives. And even the candidates, if they decide to run again, they go back into campaign mode. But you and I, we have to go back to our families. We have to go back to our friends. We have to go back to our lives. And life doesn't stop because we're hurting. It keeps on going. And so we have to now get back into the groove and accept that some people might have moved on to their life calling, to the thing that God has for them. And we say, God bless you. I thank you for the time that we had together. And then we open our hearts, our minds, and our souls to the new people who will come, the new energy that will come through us and into our lives so we can move on. And that also allows for resources as well. Time, talent, treasure. Those things have to come for the next big adventure. And then the last thing, step number 5, we're going to rev that engine, and baby, it's time to roll. You hear me? We're going to rejoin the world of the living, and we are going to re-engage. We're going to start slow, just like when we take off from a red light. We've been on pause. The engine has idled. Some of you have those cars that turn off. So we're going to start slow. We're going to be steady. We're going to be sure. And if when we return to the land of the living, to the task at hand, it doesn't feel right, we're going to find something else to do, some other way for us to serve, to be of service, to be served, to be loved, to love. And we're going to know that we matter, that we are loved, that we are worthy, and that we are necessary. The person that we are right here, right now, and the person that we're evolving into. For the universe, the world, our existence to be what it is, it requires us. Can you embrace that? That right here, right now, that the world would not be what it is, but for you in it. I think that is a beautiful thing. So I'm just going to recap and say, number one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cry. We're not going to deny we're hurting. We're going to cry. We're going to do what we need to do. We're going to, number two, express our gratitude and thank the people who stood with us through it all. Number three, we're going to remember our why, that we have a purpose on this earth, and we're going to embrace that. Number four, we're going to reset our clocks, and we're going to retreat, and we'll come back to ourselves and to our souls. And number five, we're going to get back revving to go. I love you. I appreciate you. And I thank you for being in my circle, in my corner. Blessings.